Hello, so today we're going to go through question 1 of the 2022 AMath O-Level Paper 2. So in 2010, there were an estimated 2,400 birds of a particular species in a certain country. In 2013, the numbers were estimated to have fallen to 2,050. Scientists believe that the number of these birds, n, can be modeled by the formula n equals to 2,400 e to the power of negative kt, where t is the time in years after 2010. Part A is asking you to estimate the number of birds in the year 2017. Okay, first of all, we start from 2010. So from 2010 to 2017, 7 years have passed. So you know that T is equal to 7. So in your formula here, they are asking you to find N. Okay, and what else is missing? You can see if you know T and you're supposed to find N. In the formula that they gave you, K is missing. Okay, so that means you have to solve for k first, right? This is quite standard for such questions, okay? So you always have to find this k first. So to find this k, you must make sure that you know an expression where you can actually sub in the value of t and n as well, so that the only unknown is k, and you can solve for k. Okay, so you have to find an equation like that. So you have to use the information given in the questions. So here you can see that they gave you a certain piece of information about the year 2013. In 2013, okay, so 2013 would be t is equal to 3, right? Because it's 3 years after 2010. And the value of n was 2050. So you know t and you know n, you can solve for k. So you solve for k first before you try to find n for part A. Okay, so let's do that. Let's just sub in the values. So when t equals to 3, n was equals to 2050. So you can sub in the values 2050 Okay, so you sub in those two values. Then now the only unknown is k, and we can solve for it. But before we can solve for k, which is in the exponent, we have to try to bring it down. Okay, so you have to shift some terms around. So you do that first by getting rid of the 2,400 from the right-hand side. So we bring it to the left. At this stage, how do we bring k down? Okay, so when you have e to the power of something, if you want to bring the power down, all you have to do is just put a ln in front. So we ln both sides. Okay, how did I get this? So I'll just show you what the intermediate steps are. So basically, when you ln both sides, right, you'll essentially get ln 2050 over 2400 equals to ln e to the power of negative 3k. But then ln e to the power of negative 3k, using your laws of logarithms, remember you can always bring your power to the front to be the coefficient of the logarithm. Okay, so ln e to the power of negative 3k is the same as negative 3k times ln e. And ln e is just equal to 1. So it's just negative 3k times 1, which is negative 3k. Okay, so that's how I got that value. And to solve for k, you just divide the whole left-hand side by negative 3. And we'll use the 5SF answer because this is the intermediate answer. Then now, using this value of k, we're going to find the value of n in 2017. So n in 2017 is equal to this. And t is equal to 7. Okay. And if you were to put it in your calculator, you'll get 1661.4 to 5SF, but we'll leave our final answer to 3SF. Okay, part B. the species is labeled under threat when the number of birds falls below 1,200. Estimate the year in which the species might be first labeled under threat. Okay, so 1,200 here represents the value of n, right? Because it's the number of birds. Okay. So what you are trying to find basically is the value of t when n is equal to 1,200, because you want to know how many years have passed to the when this value when the value of n, when the number of the birds falls from the initial 2,400 to 1,200, right? You want to find how many years have passed. So that's why you're trying to find the value of t, so that you can figure out what year exactly this happens in. Okay. So we already know the value of k, that will still remain the same because it's a constant. So when n is equal to 1,200, we'll sub that in. Now we want to find t. So recall again, we're going to apply the same concept where we will try to bring the power of the e down by putting ln on both sides. Okay, so we can solve for t. And you should get 13.19. You just put it in your calculator. So this is the number of years that will pass. Okay. And they said estimate the year in which the species might be first labeled under threat. So 13.19 years later, okay, from 2010. Okay, 13 years later is 2023. Okay. So the thing is, you might be wondering, should it be 13 or 14 years later? Because it's 13.19, right? But they said estimate the year in which the species might be first labeled under threat. So in 2024, it will still be under 1,200. But the thing is, this happens in 2023 as well. Okay, because when 2023 just starts, that will be 13 years later. But 13.19 years later, you are still in 2023. You haven't reached 2024 yet. Okay, so this will still happen in the year of 2023. That's why the answer will be 2023.